I was talking with a woman the other day, and the more that I spoke to her, the more that I realized she had a very common kitchen confession that impacts a lot of us. What was happening in her life is she felt she was doing a very good job with plant-based eating. When she headed out to restaurants or even to the grocery store, she would pick up very fast, quick, casual type food items and really focus on the plant-based side of things. And yet when she managed to step back into her kitchen, suddenly all of her goals for plant-based eating just seemed to dissolve. She could do it very well when she went out to eat every night, but the idea of getting back into the kitchen really put up blocks everywhere, and she just couldn't figure out how to eat healthier, eat whole foods, and actually get back into the kitchen and enjoy the process. Now, I know if you can relate to this, I think we all can from time to time. In fact, a lot of that is where I came from 20 or 30 years ago when I first started on this journey. 30 years ago, when my father passed away from a massive heart attack and my young daughter declared herself vegetarian at the age of 3, I was a very busy working mom, had started my own company, was constantly on the run. And in between that, I had to drop my daughter off at daycare and then at school, and then all the events, all the programs that she was working on. I had to, take care of the home. I had parental obligations with my parents. I had family obligations. Again, you get the point. I know you live this life too. There's so much going on in your life. And the thought of actually stepping into the kitchen and having to create meals every night, it didn't even cross my mind back then. That wasn't even something that I thought of. And if I did step into the kitchen for any length of time, it was to grab something quick, something that I could throw on the stove, throw in the oven, go about, check emails, do all the things that we need to do at night, check homework with my daughter, and then step back in, throw something on a plate and eat quickly, right? That's what we were programmed for, especially I think as a Gen X mom, as a Gen X woman. I was totally grown up with the idea of you can go to college to be whoever, do whatever you want. You can have it all. You can be it all. And so that's something that consistently resonated with me throughout my life. I can bring home the bacon and I can fry it up in a pan as long as it's a very quick food, as long as it's something, ultra processed, something that I can grab from a box, do it quickly and move on, because I've got 5 other things on my to-do list before I can even think about going to bed. But the problem with that is the more that we really stop focusing on food, stop focusing on where it's coming from, the more that we lose a part of who we are from our health and really our wealth perspective, from how it's impacting us, our family, our kids, everybody around us. And I'm starting to see this more and more in the news right now. So again, I thought it was a perfect time to make this a kitchen confession, because this isn't about empowerment. This isn't about getting back in the kitchen and sending women especially back into the kitchen, which is traditionally not a not paid job. What this is about is demanding more from our current environment, our current government environment, and really understanding who's behind all this, where it's coming from, and how it impacts us as a whole. Like I said, I have been on a plant-based journey now for about 30 years, ever since my father died of a massive heart attack at the age of 54. I started asking questions about, how this could happen to such a young man. And again, the closer I got to that age myself, the younger that age actually became. And a lot of that changed as well when my daughter at the age of 3 found a new friend who was vegan and declared herself a vegetarian from that point forward. She was very truthful in that, and it took me a couple of years to realize just how much she wanted to be a vegetarian. And when I started really digging in, really understanding all of the food movement and everything behind it. This isn't about requiring women to grow their own food or to, just really get down and create items from scratch. Instead, I think a lot of it, what this is also understanding who we are and how food works inside our body. Food as a whole is energy. It is what provides you the energy you need to move forward. So when you are filling your kids up with sugary cereals, with food that has no nutritional value whatsoever, again, and they're trying to function on that, these kids consistently have more and more trouble doing so. And that is something that I think we all want as moms. That's why we go to the store and we grab a package off the shelf, and when it says it's got protein or real fruit in it, or natural flavorings, all those kinds of words, they mean something to us, and we put them in our carts. We bring them home because we are trying to balance absolutely everything in life. That's what we all have to do, right? We have 24 hours in the day, and we have to keep everything in balance. And when you're running around and you're trying to put food on the table, obviously our food system has made it where it's easier to do so, where it's easy to grab products off of the shelf and use them and rely on what they say. But I think some of the things that really push me forward in this movement, and also to move into plant-based, to really understand it, and actually to go and to get my nutrition coaching certificate, all these different things that I've done in my life, because every step has taken me to a different point. And one of the things that I think that I haven't gotten over, and that that I learned a number of years ago, and that is really kind of making its way into the marketplace today, is the fact that some of the ingredients that we have in our current food supply here in the US is not the same as the food supply in other nations, in Europe, in different countries over there. And to me, when a food giant, when a corporation has the ingredients, they have the knowledge, they have the recipes, they have the manufacturing process, they understand, because different populations, different countries have different rules to putting food out. They understand that. And then they go ahead and they cheapen the whole process, and they create a different one in the US. That makes me very aware of what's happening. That makes me, as a mom, go, what is going on with this? Why are things allowed here and disallowed there? What does that mean, and what does that look like? And the more that I investigated that, the more that I really dug in to understand that, the more that I started questioning, well, why would I want to put this other stuff in my body? And a lot of people will say, well, there is no proof. There's no reports on this, on what it does for you. But the mere fact to me that we have two different thought processes, someone in some places push not to use it versus other places push to use it, even if there isn't a lot of studies, even if there isn't a lot of things in place, my brain as a human, as a mom, as a woman, goes naturally to, why would I want to put something that isn't tested, even if that's the claim that it hasn't been tested? So for me, it's always backing up and going to the purest ingredients possible. Yes, I look for shortcuts. I look for easy ways to create things. But there are so many easy ways of creating food products today. You don't have to spend hours in the kitchen. You can rely on easy things to do. You can do prep work. You can do whatever it is that makes your job easier. There's a ton of ways to do it. But to me, to vilify the process of physically getting in the kitchen and enjoying the process, even just to spend 30 to 60 minutes coming into my kitchen, is one of the things that I enjoy most in my life right now. And again, this has been a process. If you would have asked me 20, 30 years ago as a busy mom, yes, I didn't understand it because of the structure of our system, the way that it was being built. And now I'm still a very busy mom. I have an adult daughter, so things are a lot different in my life now. But I still have a very busy, fulfilling life. I work full time. I'm consistently doing a lot of different things outside the home and in the home. And there's so much to my life that I don't want to, bring even more job or work into my life. What I want to do is find more fulfilling things. And I think that's where a lot of it has turned for me. in that the kitchen is no longer a place to ignore or a place to, shudder and not life. It has nothing to do anymore with I don't know how to cook, or I don't like to cook, or I don't like what I produce when I cook. Instead, I've taken the bull by the horns, and I've actually come into the kitchen and realized that this is my safe place, that this is a place that I thoroughly enjoy being, because it is all about self-care. This is about the process of creating whole food, about creating things that nourish my body and provide me the energy that I want in order to move forward, in order to age, in order to, be the best that I can be. I will leave you with a story that a number of years ago, I started reading some things about longevity and about, reaching your 100th birthday. And that really resonated with me in that, I think for us in today's time frame, we all have relatives that have, lived into their 90s, maybe even hundreds and beyond. And one of the things for me, I saw myself at 100 years old. But when I saw myself, I did not see that 100-year-old person in a nursing home or an assisted living facility. I see that 100-year-old person out hiking, out traveling, out doing all the things that I love doing now, gardening and taking walks with my friend and being on the river. And again, traveling, seeing different parts of the world. And I knew if I saw that person at 100, me, myself, at 100, doing all those things, the only way that I was going to get there is if I took care of myself today as if I were that 100-year-old person. So it kind of started me on the quest of what is it going to take to be that 100-year-old, very happy and healthy self. And whatever that looks like then, why wouldn't I do the same thing for me now? And in a lot of cases, that means eating and enjoying life right now as if I were her, because I am her. It doesn't matter what age I am. I hope to get the most out of my life and to share that with all the people around me. So if this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your comments. And if you have any kitchen confessions yourself, things that you don't quite understand about plant-based living, whole food, plant-based eating, I'd love to hear from you, and maybe I will feature your story in one of my next kitchen confessions.